So I think what I'm going to do from now on is every time I upload a YouTube video, I'm going to write a Medium article that goes along with it and then link it in the description. Um, so yeah, this is going to be a video all about Jordan Peterson's latest debacle with the Ontario College of Psychologists and their threat to revoke his medical license for the inflammatory tweets that he's been sending online on social media, and yeah, his sort of generally like provocative, naughty behavior on the internet. And yeah, like, well, I don't know, like, I put in the article, if he were a psychologist of mine, like, I would like to know beforehand that he's been saying things like this before I hire him as a psychologist. Firstly, I imagine he costs an absolute bomb as a psychologist, and yeah, I would have questions about his professionalism. I'd also have questions like about his mental health as well, and like how psychologically together he is, like, and also if he's just like a journalist, public intellectual type, like Christopher Hitchens was, like, I also wouldn't want to be counselled by Christopher Hitchens either. I wouldn't really want to engage in a therapy session with Christopher Hitchens at all. I might like to go drinking with Christopher Hitchens, but I mean, then again, I might like to go drinking with Jordan Peterson. I don't know. I don't mind Jordan Peterson as a human being. He seems like a good sort of dude, I think, ish. I don't think he's a bad person per se, but he's clearly an opportunist, isn't he? And he's being provocative because he's trying to, like, gather yet more followers and preach to the converted and preach to his little choir of kind of reactionary types on the right wing, let's face it. Like reactionary conservative types who hate the radical left, and who's the cause of the woes in society for young men at the moment in these times of austerity? Could it be bankers, or could it be a cadre of blue-haired lesbians, homosexuals, transes? I can say that because I am one. Yeah, the trans is on the trans side in the T of the LGBT or the LGBT, and yeah, all that. He doesn't seem to understand. Like, he's a strange bird, this Peterson. He really is. He's an odd chap. He's eccentric. He's a very entertaining speaker, is what he is. He's a very good orator, a brilliant speaker. He seems to know an awful lot about psychology and an awful lot about literature and politics and all these sorts of things. Well, actually, when it comes to politics, I don't think he knows half as much as he thinks he does. I don't think he knows half as much economics as he thinks he does. I think he's stepped right outside of his rightful sphere of influence, and he's edging into like domains where he doesn't really know what he's talking about. Like, for instance, he said, like, if you're in Nazi Germany, you'd have been a Nazi. Like, that is not the truth at all. No, only 10% at its height were members of the Nazi Party, I think you'll find. There were enlisted men in the Wehrmacht, and I'm not certain everyone was a Nazi in the Wehrmacht. I think they all believed they were fighting for their country. But no, and there were pockets of people among the German people who resisted the Nazis, and it's not all that cut and dry. And like all sorts of people, even within the Third Reich, were like, I mean, there are assassination attempts against Hitler, for God's sake. There are all sorts of people, like, yeah, sympathising with the Allies, and largely thanks to people like that, particularly people finding the Enigma machine and all the work that went on with that, Bletchley Park and so on. That especially helped us to win the war. And this actually neatly brings me back around to our point, major point here, because like he's what he's doing is like he's tangentially attacking the LGBT movement. He's tangentially attacking the trans rights movement within the LGBT movement, and or directly attacking it even. possibly sometimes. And, saying, like, he remembers when pride used to be a sin. Like, the man who won us the Second World War, Alan Turing, was a gay man who we treated abysmally. We castrated him chemically, and that was done under the purview of psychiatrists and psychologists in the NHS. I've never cared for the word purview, just wanted to point that out, but it's beside the point. And yeah, we treated him astoundingly badly, as badly as the Nazis would have done. And frankly, and it's a great mark of shame against our nation that we did that to Alan Turing, and the crimes of homosexuality, of gay sex, those have only been lifted, like they've only been legalized. Acts of gay sex have only been legalized in very recent decades. It's still a nascent, budding movement. It still takes time, and there's progress that still needs to be made to normalize lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenderedness, and all these things within society. And it's nowhere near done yet. It's the progress on that front is not completed, and there's still huge resistance to it. There's still huge amounts of homophobia, sexism. There's still loads of racism, for goodness sakes, in society. Plenty of that still. So like none of this stuff, none of these sort of progressive movements, none of them have run their course, as like maybe some people in the kind of the Petersonian sympathizing areas of society would like to think. No, it takes repeated progress and pressure to really finally end things like this. And I suspect for a very long time to come, there will always be homophobia, transphobia, sexism and racism, unfortunately. But then they'll take a constant, repeated, fight against those things through courts and so on, with a system of law that is, in a dignified and humane sense, sympathetic to the plight of the LGBT community and so on, and women and people of different ethnicities to my own, which is white. And I don't know. Like, should I compare this to Alexander Solzhenitsyn's plight in the gulags of the Soviet Union under Stalin? That's what Peterson has been doing. He's been openly comparing this, like, to we're gonna lapse into totalitarianism. Everything's gonna fall, and we're gonna collapse. Society will collapse in on itself, and gulags will spring up in modern day Canada, and he will be shipped off to undergo hard labor or sensitivity training, is it? For a few weeks, you got to sit in a session, and he said he's going to do it as well. Isn't that a bit of a capitulation? I thought he was against that sort of thing. No, you stick to your fucking guns. Like he kowtowed to it, didn't he? Oh, totally. Or he's gonna go there and record it all or something. I don't know. I am fucking sick of this. I'm sick of Jordan Peterson. I am. I had enough of him. I want him put out to pasture where he belongs. But there he is. Still like a haunted waxwork, and he haunting the corners of social media, the internet, and which everyone is on nowadays, and still regular and on the big podcasts and all this sort of stuff. Jesus, it just makes me wonder, what's the point of it all? It's reactionary, spicy, sexy politics, isn't it? It's spiced up, sexy political stuff that's not boring, and there's an enemy, and it's the radical left, and it's the postmodernists, and the neo-Marxists, and they're running the system and ruining everything. And yeah, and there's all the bubbling hatred for the LGBT community just like lingering beneath the surface, and there's like gangs of trolls and the Charlottesville kids or whatever it is, and their fucking stupid chinos and, and check stuff, looking all wholesome and like 1950s teenagers or whatever, because they played too much Fallout and have come to fetishize that universe. I don't know. I hope I manage like a more important like output than Peterson in my life. He's got Maps of Meaning, which is probably his most important book, like his big contribution to psychology or philosophy or whatever it is, psychology or philosophy of mind or whatever, like his niche he's trying to like carve out in, by the way, postmodernism. Yeah, like. Yeah, because that is clearly postmodern philosophy. It's too confusing not to be. Yeah, or maybe it's postmodern. I don't know. But yeah, Peterson is an interesting chicken, an interesting little bird. He is, that one. He's like very bird-like as well. He is like a sort of a wonderful kind of. Like a bird of prey, like a falcon. Like all preened and lovely, yeah. Or more like an ornamental bird that you'd have in like an emperor's botanical garden. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh God. It's very important. Yeah, like as if his plight is anywhere comparable to that of Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Fucking hell. Well, this isn't anyway like a Soviet reaction to it. That's the sort of thing idiots say off the cuff about the way that the modern world works. It was like the Soviet Union under Stalin. Like, no, it isn't, you stupid idiot. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all I have to say about him in there. Yeah, come on, he's making mountains out of molehills, nothing more. And he's doing it for money.